actually off of a pop-up camper that we converted into a teardrop. It was just one of those that just kind of folded out. But I come up with the idea of being able to use it as a roll-up awning. So I thought I would just see what it would look like. It worked. The idea worked really well. And it rolls up inside of there. With that in mind, I scrounged up as much stuff as I could to put stuff together, and I actually bought a tarp. This is a 3-inch pipe. This is a 1-inch and a schedule 40, so it was a little bit stronger. 2 caps, 2 joints, and reducers that go from, these actually go from a 1-inch to a 3/4, and I'll show you what I'm going to use there. I got one of these is like a few bucks down Harbor Freight. And these will be the brackets to hold it on. So you can see what it's going to look like. I'm just going to mock it up here. Each of these, I drilled that just enough for that to fit in through there, so that you can see that's in there. And this is big enough to spin on top of it in that. Then this is going on that. So now I've got that. This will represent this. It goes across here, and it goes across here, and then again it goes to this end, and then here like that. So basically that represents, with that 3-inch pipe in the middle, that represents the whole thing. The 1-inch pipe will actually be holding the vinyl that comes in and out, okay? And then trying to figure out how to roll this up, come up with a knuckle from a socket set that you can just rotate that, and that rotates this. Then these will snap onto here, and that's how it gets held to the camper. Alright, and that's what I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do, well, you see this 1-inch pipe here. I have, inside of this 1-inch pipe, I have a piece of wood, so that when I put the vinyl on here, it stays stiff all the way down, and when I put the screws in, it can have some steel to go into it. That makes it a little bit heavier, but it works. All these are 10-foot sections, but for me to make this work the way it needs to work, I'll probably have to cut this back a little bit. Otherwise, this isn't going to fit. But that's my idea, and I'm going to take you along for the ride to see if it's going to work. I got to cut a slot in this, big enough for the vinyl. Then I'll take a router bit, router it on the inside and the outside, and just to make sure it's smooth. All right.
Okay, just to give you a little heads here. This is the cap, and of course you need to drill the hole in that. That made this fit perfect. So let me show you what the other one looks like. I was up inside here cutting this. I was cutting it at an angle so that there wouldn't be a sharp edge right inside of here. So this was cut at an angle like that, so that you could see that it can rotate and come in and out. Now, the length. Length is really proportional to how big you're going to make this. You want to make the pipe that goes inside here all the way to the other end. You want it to be a little bit less than the length of your outside piece of conduit here. Now, the reason I put that cap on there first, so I could get my measurement here. And what I did is I went ahead and cut this as just about as the same length. You can see down inside there, it's in maybe a 1/4 inch. That pipe inside here is a 1/4 inch shorter than this. That's because it's counting for not going all the way into this collar. And you'll see that a good portion of that collar is sticking out from here to here. So in order to make this work, because you're going to have to put another cap on here, and then in that cap will be this, which is just a reducer, and you'll see that. So really, this is where the PVC will rotate on the cap where I cut the hole. It's the same as on the other end. Now in here, I'm going to make the crank, and I kept thinking of a different way to make it, all kinds of things, and I thought, oh shoot. That's when I saw that. I thought, oh, I can't get any better than that, because then you can be down here and rotate it just like you would a socket set. So I'll drill a hole through here, right through here, and it goes all the way through that and comes out on this side, and then I'll grind it off so that it stays the same. So when I glue it in there, it will stay, this will stay attached to that. It'll be secured. I'll fill in a little bit of a gap. But this adapter here was like $6 at Harbor Freight. So I mean, you can't really get any better than that. So it's a whole lot easier than I could have made one. And then I can attach off of here down to a pole where I can rotate the pole, and this will rotate everything here. So that's how that's done. And you see how that vinyl actually goes in and out. This is actually going to be like this, and this actually rotates, and you can see inside. Let me put it over here where you can see a little better. You can see inside where that comes up, and that's why I had to cut that the groove across the bottom of here so that it was smooth coming in and out. But alright, I'm going to continue putting this together. It probably won't be in film because it's kind of hard to see from this, but you might see me drill the socket set into this collar or this reducer. By the way, this is 4-inch PVC. This is 1 inch, and these adapters are 1 inch. So you can see the vinyl that I actually, this is the more expensive vinyl, or tarp, that I got at Harbor Freight. I had picked it up for something else and didn't use it, so I'm using it for this. Trimmed it for this length, but kept everything except 1 foot on the width. I mean, I kept it the width. I cut the width, and then kept the length exactly the same, except I cut off 1 foot, because otherwise it was too tight inside the cavity here. All right. Okay, I wanted to show you something, a little, I guess a hack or whatever you call it. I needed this to be Look at how loose that is. I needed to make sure it was centered because I don't want this to be wobbling when you're rotating this. So what I'm going to do is I took a soft drink and cut this into 2 strips. And then I will take and rotate this around and stick it down inside of here. Perfect height. And do it with the second one. And bring this in here like this. We'll take that tight, stick it in there, and let it go. Now I've got a perfect gap. And then this will go in there really tight. There. Just like that. Now this is perfect. That's perfect. Now you can see it comes all the way to the back of this here. Excellent, huh? Alright, now I'm going to be drilling maybe a hole here and here and maybe 4 in there just to put a nail or something in there to keep this so this rotates. So as you can see right now it just rotates like that, but that'll keep everything working. It'll be perfect. Okay, here we go. I drilled through this, which by the way was extremely difficult. Don't use the cheap Harbor Freight drill bits. I went through about 8 of them. Then I got me out my step bits, which are these. Oh, you can't see it. Kind of like this. Those are step bits. Of course, I've got a set of these, and I was able to drill through the steel. But I got this. You can see that nail, it is flush, and then it's cut off of here. So now this has become part of this collet, actually this reducer. So, and that's what you want. So now I'll go and assemble it. Sorry I'm so close with this, but I wanted to show you. Okay, now I've tapped the cap on. You see it here. And I'm about to tap it on now. You'll see that this is hanging low. But if you've done this right and you drill this in the dead center, when you tap this, that should actually float up into the middle because it will be riding in the center of this. So let's see if I did it good. Look at that. Wow, huh? That's just amazing how that worked out. It's perfectly aligned in here now. Now, this I'm going to glue into that center piece, not the cap. It's very, very important. Just get glue back inside of here. And don't put it on this, because what you'll do is you'll drag that glue through this and on the edges of this cap. So that's what I'm going to do. By the way, this cap is not glued on. It's just tapped on. I didn't want to glue it on, just like I didn't want to glue it on the other side. In case I have to take this apart, I could reuse this cap. But all right, and here I go. I'll show you when I'm done, because actually, the camera's in my way. Okay, it's in there, and it's going to glue. So now I've got this all set, and I've got it hanging from the rafter in my shop just because I needed a place to hang it. And this end is open right now, and I'll be putting a cap on that to seal that up so no water accumulates down inside this pipe. So this is how it all is. Just to give you an idea, again, it's a 4-inch with a 1-inch pipe with a piece of 3/4 conduit on the inside of that pipe to keep the center of this from falling from PVC from the way to tarp and everything, that keeps it as straight as I can keep it. Because that's 10 feet long. And you can see how it's all set. And then what I'm going to be doing, since the hardware store where I went didn't have 4-inch clamps like this, I'll be cutting this and still using it, just fastening on the top and the bottom, you know, just right here and here. At least that's what I'm thinking of doing. I'll definitely be using, the clamp is coming off this cap, so that will definitely be how this is being held on. And I still have an idea on the center, because that's going to have to be supported also. But we'll get to that. Hey, check this out, y'all. See this? It's actually on the end of that will fit like a 36 millimeter, which is kind of funny because that's what I used to use on the four-wheel drive front locking hubs of my vehicle that I had. But so check this out. This socket actually fits right onto here. Isn't that funny? And hook to my drill. You can see oh, I got that on high. If I can keep it on myself here. You see that? Kind of cool. If I wanted to bring it back up, I can do that also. I just got to be real careful because I don't want it to go back up inside. Which I have to put, I got to put something on here on the end of this to keep it from going up inside. That would be a problem. But pretty cool, huh? Okay, guys, here's what I come up with. See this from here all the way down to that end? That's actually going to support my new canopy. And each end of the canopy has a 4-inch fitting like this. So what it's going to do is it's going to come into here. This is going to be moved in. And you can see there's a bolt hole here. This will bolt down there, and then that turn will clamp. We'll actually clamp this together. And then I'll come back and put screws in, like here and here, or maybe here, here, and here, to keep it from spinning. It isn't going to spin because of this. It's going to be pretty darn tight. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a second one that comes across here. Those two rails in the front are for our solar panels. And this will be the canopy. That second one, I actually kept it a little long, so it could, if I had to attach up, I could. And then I put a little bracket, you can see right here underneath, so it doesn't sag. But that's how the canopy that I made, it's actually gonna fit on here. Wow, this trail is dirty from sitting down in the mud at the last campgrounds. These brackets you see here periodically, see there, were actually for the awning that I was making. I was making a 270-degree awning, and I discovered it was just too much for Amy if she ever wanted to take this out with the grandkids on her own while I was working. She could. So I decided to make this awning, which is a whole lot easier to operate anyway. So, all right. And of course, that's what it looks like after it's been painted. And there it looks. That's what it looks like installed. I wanted to get it on there before the rain came. So it was kind of secured on there now. Okay, here we are, all set up for camp. We are currently in Utah at a campground, and this is where we're set up. Got a canopy that runs into a PVC tubes, and then strapped down with those dog tie outs. And these poles are actually painter's poles.